Welcome everybody to 1 hour of miniature goodness, and tonight we have the Nightwalker by Wizkids Games. Absolutely beast of a miniature. This was one of the unboxings I did from last week and was one of my favourites. It reminds me of the Pan's Labyrinth monster. I think you'll agree with me on this one. Okay, let me say hello to everybody in chat so far. We've got Scorpler, the Bold GM, Casper Kenobi, Michelle's in the house. Hello, Tal's in the house, Ty's in the house, Rod's in the house. Hello, Rod. Mockai's in the house. My dad's in the house. I'll have to call him Ron, but I'll stick to calling him Dad for now. The Goblin Emperor. Okay, so this is the miniature for today. It's a beastie. Now, let's give you a 360. I hope the focus and my sound is working okay. Now, the back of this Nightwalker has the clear plastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to get that all painted up first, because we'll be going for like a smoky dark effect today. The colours for today, we got Dragon Black, we got Spectral Glow, that'll be for the eyes. We've got some white, and we got some Night Sky Blue. These are MSP paints, and that's really all we need to paint this miniature with today. But first of all, we shall make a start with that plastic, because I'm hoping to get the plastic to dry before the end of the hour so you can see what it looks like before it's finished. So what we're after is a nice smoky effect, and of course I'll be using my satin acrylic varnish mix, and I'll be mixing that today with some nun oil, and this will be to colour change the clear plastic to a smoky black, or shadow black. Maybe we could call it shadow black. So all we need to do is get our varnish into our little pot here. Right, Renegade Shanks in the house early. That's not good. that's not good at all. Yes. Trouble started early. And James in the house. Hello, James. Okay, so we've got some, this is just satin acrylic varnish. Now I'm going to keep on repeating myself on the shows, because anybody new will not know what I'm doing. The reason I add the satin acrylic varnish to the clear plastic is because it's like a bonding agent, to be honest. If you added the nun oil directly onto the back of the miniature here, it would just pull and come away from the plastic. But by adding the satin acrylic varnish, not only does it help to bond onto the miniature, it gives a nice mix with the ink wash as well. But what happens is this will dry completely clear. So what will happen is you'll still get that translucent effect, but you're changing the color of the plastic. Okay, so all we need to do to make a nice smoky effect is we're going to add a few bits of this. We're just going to add a few drops to the, and what we want to see is this go a nice grey colour, and then we can just paint it directly onto the miniature. There we go, just a little bit of the black, and we're just going to mix that in. I'm just using this brush here. Just get a good old mix in with your brush. Now I should be really using a little stick to mix this in, but this brush is coming to the final days now, so it's not so bad for using it as a mixing brush. So as you can see, it's gone to a nice grey colour now. I think I'm just going to add a couple more drops of black to that. 1 second. Just a tiny bit more. There we are. And we'll get that a little mix in, just to make it a little bit darker. Make sure it's all thoroughly mixed in with the varnish, because that'll cover the clear plastic beautifully. Okay, let's get this out of the way. My brush will wash again. And we just add that all over the clear areas. Now I can't see if that's in focus or not. Let's move this back out again. It's quite a large miniature to keep into the frame today, but we'll have a good bash at it. There we are. So all I'm going to do now is paint all the clear areas with a nice layer of this ink wash, and once that's dry it will leave a nice kind of smoky effect to the plastic once it's dried. Like I say, I'm hoping, because I'm adding it at the beginning of the show, by the end of the show it'll have dried and you'll see it a little bit better. It's not a super bright colour, but what we're trying to do is just add a little bit more darkness to it, but keep that translucent effect to the plastic. And this, I've tried it loads of times now, and it does work a treat. And it really does look good on the miniature. And I'm having a raid by Reaper Miniatures. Awesome stuff. Hello all the Reaper fans. Thank you Reaper, and thank you John. I think it must be Reaper John that's raided me, probably. Welcome Reaper fans. I'm just painting clear plastic, so anybody who's just joined with the Reaper people, the Reaperites, I paint my clear. Thank you for following. I paint my clear plastic using satin varnish. If you mix satin varnish with any ink wash, today I'm using black ink wash, because I'm painting a Nightwalker, which is a night beast, of course. What will happen is, because I've used the satin varnish, it helps bond to anything that's got a clear plastic finish. And when this dries, it changes the colour to the colour of the ink wash that you've added to this varnish. And of course, the varnish dries crystal clear. It's just a very simple way, an easy way to paint all those plastic miniatures, especially like as all the Reaper people are in. You know, Reaper do many of the translucent plastics. This is a fantastic way to paint that plastic for your Reaper miniatures to give a different color variation. I'll give you an example. Once it's dried, this one I painted with the black and the Vallejo, and it's gone to a nice smoky colour. And this is what will happen to the clear plastic on the back of this miniature once that varnish is dried. It really does give a good effect. Okay, so we'll let that dry. And we'll paint all the body now in our Dragon Black by MSP. Yes, this Dizzy, this miniature reminds me of that one, that monster from Pan's Labyrinth, from that movie. It just hasn't got the little eyes in the hands. Okay, so we're going to get some black on now. Oh, is it Anne who's raided me? Thank you so much, Anne. Oh, that's really nice. When I get a raid, I normally keep my head down, and because comments just goes up in the air, and I so anyway, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just add a nice thin layer of the black all over the miniature. And what we're going to do is, once that black is dry, we'll start highlighting with some Night Sky Blue by MSP paints. Absolutely gorgeous. It's a very simple paint today. It's very, very easy, but it's an effective paint, and it looks great once it's done, and it doesn't take long. Such a large miniature. I'm going to keep on popping out of frame. I'll just move this back a little bit more. There we go. Just want to try and keep it in the frame. See if we can get a better focus. One second. So that's about as best. That's about as good as my webcam goes for my streaming, I'm afraid. That's not the best of cameras, but it does the job. Now, as you know, with these miniatures, they have got a primer coat already applied, so you do not need to add any primer coats. But as the main body is black anyway, this dragon black is going to work perfectly for what we're doing. This is what I like about the MSP paints as well. Thank you for following. This is what I like about the MSP paints as well, is they're not as thick as Vallejo and Games Workshop, so I don't need to water them down or anything like that. They can just go on straight from the bottle, and that's fabulous. With the Games Workshop paints, I always seem to be watering them down. Same with the Army Painter as well. It's a very thick paint. But I do like the MSP, as you know. That works for me. But I use paints from all the different companies. As that varnish dries on the back, it'll look a lot nicer. I'm hoping it'll dry before the end of the show. It does take a while. If I've still got wet paint, I have got another little miniature that we could make a start on. This is a Deft Tyrant, I think. Okay then, while I'm painting this black on, if all my goblins on a painted tier want to enter and say give me a free mini, Claire will enter you into the free mini for tonight. So all my goblins on a painted tier, if you want to add that to chat, you'll be entered into the Wheel of Pain. Free the Gimp. So Now remember, I also do have, I've just opened a Ko-fi shop now, and I am selling buy it now painted miniatures. So if you want to have one of my miniatures painted, you'll find I've started to add miniatures to my Ko-fi shop. I've kept the prices as low as possible, and they are tabletop quality. They are not showcase quality, but they are perfect for gaming. I mean, that's what it's all about for me, gaming miniatures. And I think most of you are the same. We all want to paint a showcase standard miniature, of course we do. But we have to put in the factor of time. If you have a whole army of miniatures to paint, you can't paint every single miniature to a showcase standard, even though we would all love that. So sometimes we have to be realistic about what we can do in the time we've been given. In the time we've been given. It's always special when Reaper raid my Twitch stream. It's very, very kind of them. They've always shown me tons and tons of love over the years, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. All these big companies, you know, just looking at the smaller people like myself, it makes you feel quite proud. I mean, all we can do is try our best, and that's what I do. Try my best. I see chat has been very, very good since Reaper has raided. Nobody's being naughty. it's like the head teacher has just walked into the classroom, you know, and everybody's like, oh well, yeah, okay, maybe not then. I got to make sure I don't miss any of the white, because I know if I miss a little tiny weeny bit, Michelle will go and have a freak out. So I'm just going to add a little bit more black to my palette. Wash my brush. And that's a good lesson to learn as well. If you are painting like I'm doing now, lots of black, keep washing your brush. While you're painting, keep washing that brush, even though you're using the same color. Keep now and again washing that brush, because what will happen is, even though you're using the same paint, you'll find that the paint will end up drying slowly up the bristles of the brush. So you want to keep that brush moist as possible throughout your painting, and that will protect your brush and stop the paint drying on the bristles while you're painting. Thank you for subscribing. It's very kind of you. Okay. It's quite hard to hold this miniature today. I like to use my fingers for support, you know, and try to get into the miniature, but because of the angle I'm painting and this size of the miniature, I'm actually kind of freehanding with one hand, so it's actually not as easy. All I'm doing is adding the black. It's like, oh, this isn't as easy as it looks. There we are. It's nice, like I say, it's nice and hot in my workshop today, so I'm hoping the paint will dry nice and fast, and then we could add some highlights to this miniature, because it should be easily finished within an hour. It shouldn't take longer than an hour to paint this miniature today. Thank you for following. I keep all my streams to an hour, and I try to get as much in on my stream as possible. And what happens is, if I don't finish the miniature on the stream, I will upload a 360 video with the Twitch stream onto YouTube, so you can actually see what I finished on the evening I painted that miniature. So everything I do on stream, I do make a video of the finished miniature, and then post it onto YouTube. But it is loads and loads of fun, having all my goblins and all the people supporting me. It really is an encouragement, because I get very I'm a bit of a nervous person with live streams. I'm not especially like everybody turned up tonight. I'm fine with all my goblins, but once I get a lot of people that I don't know, it gets very difficult. But I just keep on talking and I get the job done. Thank you for the cheer. Okay, nearly there. Nearly there. As soon as you get this black on, we can just race through it then and get the job done. It's just, I'm just making sure I don't make any mistakes with the black. I don't want to go over, or I don't want to go over the clear plastic. I want to try and keep that just with that ink wash on. So we're just trying to have some nice smooth lines going around there. I'll just go back a little bit here. There we are. Perfect. I'm not sure if that ink wash will dry within the hour, but we can definitely carry on working with the black and add in some blue highlights. There's a little bit under the arm there, and the back of the thing, the horn. There we are. Okay, that's good. Let's have a look. Thank you, Ty. Okay, so as you can see, the black's on there now. It is still a little bit wet, so we're gonna have to give that a few minutes to make sure it's fully dry before I start highlighting. To be honest, we could start highlighting, but we're gonna leave it a little bit longer just to make sure it is a bit more dry. I just take it off excess to make sure. I'll just double check under the chin. There's always parts you miss, and black is a nightmare for adding. I mean, any of you who are painters out there will know when you add a black primer, or like I've done here, because it's black, it reflects so much, and then once it's dry, all of a sudden you'll see all these bits you missed, because it looks like it's wet when actually it's the undercoat is coming through, and giving a false impression that it's been painted. So there we are, so far so good. I'll just put that down here. I'll take a little drink of my Ribena because it's very hot today. Yes, my goblins are all moist. All very, very moist. Okay, while that's drying, we could add a little bit of graveyard bone to the Death Tyrant. This is Wizkids Games version of the Eye of the Beholder without the skin, the Death Tyrant. A very simple item and very simple to paint. All that's going to be is graveyard bone, then you've got a brown ink wash over the top, and then we'll highlight with a lighter graveyard bone dry brush around the mouth and the teeth. Again, all these eyes on stalks I will paint the same way using that mixture. We could go for a yellow, and that would look nice, but what I'll do is I'll just get the graveyard bone on this for now, and then we can go back onto this once it's dry. I can actually see I've missed a bit there, so a little bit on the top of the head, just there you go. See, all the new people that have just joined, see, they don't understand what the moist is all about. So if anybody in chat wants to explain themselves, that would be good. Oh, is my dad drinking whiskey? Again, with this MSP paint, I don't need to water this one down. I'm just going to go with a smaller brush this time though, and we just add a little bit more here. Again, we've got to be careful not to get too much paint on our crystal clear plastic, as we want that to just be done with an ink wash and our varnish, because we want it to be glowy, nice and glowy for the tabletop. And my table lamp is reflecting, so I do apologise if you can't see the colours too well. I tried to get all the correct items for streaming, but even then it's quite difficult to get, especially when you're painting white. I find I get a lot of reflection when I paint anything white. You get that glare from your tabletop lamp. I have been doing watching lots of YouTube videos on getting the best equipment. So not the best, I can't afford the best, but getting the equipment to help with glare and all the other things on the Twitch streams, because I do want to have a good quality stream. And I also want to get a camera that I don't have to manually zoom in and out. I find with these webcams that we use, it's impossible to keep the auto zoom on, because instead of focusing on the miniature, or focus on something over in the background there. Yes, Gareth, when I was watching your stream last night, I noticed every time you was painting your stormtrooper, it was zooming in on your fingers or your hand and somewhere else. And no, I'm not. And no, I am not going to stab myself today. Anybody new to the stream? Last week, all the Reaper fans will know the old pokey stick that we use for our MSP paints. Someone made me laugh on stream last night. Not last night, on the last stream. And just as I went to poke the bottle, I laughed and missed the bottle and poked myself with the finger. And thank you for following. And what's crazy is I physically stabbed myself, and everybody's in hysterics laughing at me. That's not funny. That's not funny. I was bleeding. I was bleeding. Okay, we're just going to get a little bit of paint on here. I really want to work on the Nightwalker tonight, but I'm just waiting on that black to dry. Once that black's dry, we can crack on. So I'm just adding a little bit of the old skull colour here, this bone colour, to this miniature. This is a very nice little miniature. Very nice. Again, a very, very simple paint. When I build up more and more confidence on my Twitch streams, I will start to show more advanced painting. It'll still be speed painting. I'll never not stop doing speed painting, and I'll always keep the shows to an hour long, but I will start doing more advanced painting techniques. But until I've build up my confidence more, I'm trying to stick with quick paints, quick and easy on the shows. I mean, if you watch some of my YouTube videos, you'll see I've done advanced painting on those. So it is possible, but doing a live stream is not as easy as it looks. There we are. There's a little bit of paint on there. That's all we needed. That's great. Thank you for subscribing. Oxygen Zero, that's a cool name. There you go. Okay, I think we're ready to go back to our Nightwalker. Thank you for subscribing. The Lone Goldfish. Now, if you see me staring like I am like a 50-year-old man, it's because right, my setup is fantastic. I got an absolutely beautiful workshop. I got 3 monitors in front of me. 3 monitors. I got one monitor here. This is where I got my OBS Streamlabs. And what's really crazy is, even though I got these massive, great, big, huge screens, I don't know if it's possible to enlarge it. But I got this tiny. I got about this size to actually look at what I'm doing on the monitor. So when I'm reading everybody's, I'm kind of, what's going on? So I don't know if I've got it set up right. Maybe someone needs to tell me how I enlarge that center screen. I don't know. I have no idea. It's because you are a 50-year-old man. I know I'm 50. Tal. I'm 50. Actually, 3 weeks time, I'm 50 years old. 50 years old. 50. God, I'm nearly swearing. Stop it. Right, James, user zoom overlay is in the base windows. James, when you come to visit me, you'll have to give me a little. You'll have to give me a little IT rundown on how you do it all, because I am, you know, I'm no tech wizard. Years ago I was good at building PCs, but I haven't got a clue now. Okay, let me get back to the painting, or as the show will be over before it's begun. We're going to use some MSP Night Sky Blue. Absolutely gorgeous. Got my old warthog in the background. Get the old pokey stick. Yeah, nobody goes in my workshop. Yeah. Okay, this is a gorgeous colour. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to add some, that's brush on primer. That's not what I wanted. Where's my dragon white gone? Oh, I've lost my, no I haven't. There we are. We got some dragon white. Got some dragon white here. And we're going to give that a blitz. Pokey stick. And we're just going to add some of that to the palette as well. Just plonk it on there. Right then, let's get this out of the way. Now the idea is we're starting off with a very, very dark night sky blue. We've got a large dry brush, and we're going to add this to our tissue here. And we're not going to take away all the moisture, all the moistness from it. I use my tissue to take away the moisture, but we're leaving it quite moist. And we're going to try that first on top of the black skin as a dry brush on the highest areas, going over the whole mini, and this will give us our first initial hit on the paint. Now we don't want it over bright because this is supposed to be a Nightwalker, like a shadow demon. So we're trying to keep the actual paint to a very dark shade, and only on certain areas will we actually start highlighting and making it lighter. But as you can see, that blue is already making a fantastic difference and bringing out all the beautiful detail on the miniature. It's a real fast, simple paint, and this is what's awesome about doing speed painting, is you can actually get some really decent looking miniatures with minimal effort. Now I have got a little bit of I was going to say I have got a little bit of a wet spot at the back here, so we'll try and work our way around that. We just want to go over all the areas with this colour. We're going over everything, because what we'll do then is we'll go over with a lighter highlight with that blue by just adding a little bit of white to the blue, just a tiny bit of white, and that'll make such a difference. And we can pick out certain areas on the miniature. But it's such a beautiful looking miniature painted up, that's for sure. And of course the black behind the blue is working fantastic, so you're getting a really nice shade there just by using that blue on top. But we're going over all the black. So the first initial highlight is everywhere. Okay, so that's our first highlight, and as you can see, it's already looking fab. all we do now is, again, we're taking some of that blue, adding it to our tissue. The tissue is taking away the moisture, which is drying out the paint, which makes it easier for us to add to the miniature. And we're just adding a little bit of white, and then putting that on the tissue there, and then going into the middle and adding a tiny bit more. And as you can see, we've got just a slight difference on the color there, but it's enough that we need. And this will be going on to the highest areas now, so we can go on to the chest, biceps there, top of the shoulders, biceps again, top of the thighs, same on the other thigh, going down to the hands, top of the hands. Now what I'm doing is I am only doing the parts, I've said it many times before, what I do is I assume the sun or the moon is above the miniature. So all the areas with the lightest highlights will be on the top, so you almost look down on the top of the miniature. So if you look down on the top of the miniature, you know the top of these horns will all have that highlight on the top, the highlight on the top of the head is going to have a highlight on the top there. That's a good way to work out where that light source is going. Just imagine the light source is going directly down the miniature. So what's happening is the bottom of the arms, and I can actually see I've missed my black there. I'm gonna have to go over that. So the bottom of the arms is going to be dark, the inner thighs will be dark, and the bottom of the legs will stay dark because the light is not going to be hitting those parts of the miniature. So all we're doing is just adding more light to the top area. So I'm adding a bit more white now. Like these fingers here, we can just do the top of the fingers. Just give a little light source to the top of the fingers there, just by adding this little bit of paint. And again, top of the eyes, just add a little bit of light source there, just a little bit of, and again on the top, making it a little bit more brighter on the top of the horn. And the top of the shoulders again, back to the biceps, top of the claw, and again to the chest muscles and the shoulders. Okay, we've got the last final highlight for this miniature. Very simple, like I told you before. Just adding a little bit more white again, and we're just going to finish off a little bit of light again, making it even brighter on the top of the horns. Top of the fingers, that chest there, just a little bit on the chest there, top of the head, and again going down the thigh. There we are, lovely jubbly. A tiny bit just there, so there we go, a little tiny weeny bit, there you go. So that's how simple it is to paint this miniature. All we need to do now is I need to add some eyes to this miniature and paint the base, and I will call that done. It's very simple. Then we get the eyes done. Googly eyes. Thank you for following. Oh, lots of people followed tonight. That's awesome stuff. Thank you so much, everybody that has followed me tonight. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so we go in for the eyes on this miniature. As you can see, it is an absolutely fab miniature. And just by a little recap, if you've joined, all I've done is black. So all I've done to begin with was I had dragon black. Covered the whole miniature in dragon black, and all I've done to highlight this miniature because it's a Nightwalker, we're looking for a smoky, dark type of feel. So the Night Sky Blue by MSP is perfect just to add a little bit of goodness to that miniature. Now all I did to add the highlights was the Night Sky Blue, and all I've done is added white and just dry brushed into lighter highlights on all the highest areas. As for the back, as you can see, it's starting to dry now, and it's actually starting to go grey like I want it to. To paint the clear plastic, all you use is your satin acrylic varnish. You add any ink wash to your satin acrylic varnish, and that will help bond to all the clear plastic, because clear plastic is a nightmare to paint on. If you've tried painting onto clear plastic just with washes, you know it pulls. But by adding this satin varnish, doesn't matter if it's Vallejo or MSP, doesn't matter what company you use, it's just a clear varnish works perfect to help change that color in the plastic. Okay, so the eyes on this miniature are absolutely tiny. There's one tiny little eyeball here, I think, and there's one little tiny eyeball just on the other side. So we'll just see if we can get those painted in. Let me just stick my paintbrush in my gob. Not the best thing to do on a show, but there we go. Okay, and now I'm assuming this is the eye. I think it is. I'm gonna paint it anyway. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of white there. Now I've just added a little dot of white. Oh, you can't even see it probably. I added a little dot of white for the eye, and the reason why I always add white is because when I add the paint on top of that eye, it will make the paint stand out more. Again, got the little eyeball there. There we go. I can't get to it. There you go. That's him. It's such a, it's a pinprick sized eye. It is tiny. So what we're going to do now is we've got some spectral glow. So we're trying to go for the most glowy eyes possible. That's fantastic, Michelle. Yes, I'm doing a free giveaway at 500 followers, and that is for a Reaper Miniatures painted zombie dragon, and that's for every single person, goblins, patrons, anybody who's not even a patron. It's for anybody who follows me on the channel, and that'll be painted worldwide. So that's when I get to 500. So yeah. Okay, so we got some nice spectral glow. This is a absolutely fab color. Makes very nice night. Thank you for following. Makes very nice eyes for these type of miniatures, for your night type miniatures. So I can get my words out. So all we are, I'm going straight into here. I don't know if this will make a huge difference because the eyes are so small. The eyes are absolutely tiny on this beastie. There we are. Okay. Now, what I'm going to have to do, because I know I missed a little bit of black here somewhere under the arm, so I'm just going to paint that black in just under the arm, and I can go over that with the blue. Like I say, I know if Michelle sees I've missed a bit, she'll have heart palpitations. Oh, the paint shaker, that's the 4E's scientific paint shaker. If you go onto my YouTube channel, I made a little video. There's a video of this actual beastie on the show. If you are serious about miniature painting, this paint mixer, it will mix all your paints. I tested it with the old Games Workshop paints, the old hex pots from the 90s, and it even worked with them, and you all know how thick those bad boys were. It is quite an expensive mixer. This cost me £99, I think, from Amazon. But I use it every single day. It's probably one of the best buys I've done for my business, for my painting business. It's just been amazing. It's absolutely fab. So yeah, highly recommended. Highly recommended. Okay, moving on. So that's about it for this. All we can do is we can paint the base. So I see what time it is now. We got 10 minutes. So what I'll do, I'll just add a little bit of paint to the base, and then we'll call it an evening. But there we are. I'll just add some brown. What we've got here is my favourite brown in the whole world, is here somewhere. This is wood stain brown. This is wood stain brown by MSP Paints. Absolutely gorgeous paint. This is what I use. Thank you for following. This is the paint I use for wood. Wood stain brown, really, Mikey. But I use it for everything. I use it as a primer paint, and it just does the job. It's a really nice paint. Should I be worried, Bold GM? I bought so oh, that's tickled me. So the Bold GM bought one. It's easier than his nail polish shaker. Okay, let's get this base finished. I'm sorry, I'm just teasing you. Okay, nice big brush we need for this one. I'll just get this on. Now, all I'm going to be doing is adding the brown to the base. But what will happen is once this base has dried, I will add a brown ink wash. Then I'll be dry brushing with nice greens, little bits of grey for the rocks. Oh, and by the way, the base for this miniature is that is just coarse sand from a beach. It's not a branded material. This is actually from one of the beaches in Scotland where I live, and all I've done is I've washed the sand and let it dry naturally in the sun, and it's just PVA glue and stuck to the base, and that's as simple as it gets and as cheap as it gets. Okay, so we're nearly finished for the evening. Now, I am going to be raiding Philippe after the show. I don't know if is Philippe streaming. Claire, could you tell me if Philippe's streaming at the moment? If you don't know. Dizzy, awesome stuff. Yes, I agree. You do have to be a bit careful when where you pick up bits and bobs. I often take I got a Jack Russell called Bonnie, And every time we go on little doggy walks, if I see any little twigs and leaves, oh, there he is, I'm leaving. What I'll do is I'll pick up all the twigs and all the little bits that I see. And to be honest, when you go out and find your own little stones and twigs and sand for your miniatures, it also becomes a hobby too. There's nothing nicer than finding that ultimate twig or that perfect looking pebble, or when you go to the beaches and you find the perfect sand, you know. So yeah, it gets you out the house, because I know a lot of us painters, we kind of live in our workshops, but it does give you the chance to leave the home and go exploring and find things for your miniatures. A lot of companies make fantastic products for your miniatures, like the stones and all the little bits and bobs, but it's a very, very expensive hobby when you start going down that road. I buy all the basic materials because it's my job, but I really do love picking up my own sand and stuff, and it does save a lot of money. Yes, yes. I Dizzy. I actually got one for Renegade Shank. Renegade Shank asked me to do a conversion. I'm going to quickly show you this before I say goodnight. But Renegade Shank wanted me to do a conversion on an old man miniature. Well, it's not an old man miniature at all. This is a giant from Anor Miniatures. Let me see if I can get closer and a bit of focus. Now, what Renegade Shank asked me to do was, this guy was holding an axe. He had an axe, and Renegade Shank said, could you convert him so he looks like an old man with a walking stick? So on my last walk with Bonnie, Renegade Shank, yay! So on my last walk with Bonnie, I picked up this little stick and cut it to size, and of course it fits perfectly. So instead of this being a giant with a hefty axe, now we've got that old man giant going. And I'll be posting that off to Renegade Shank in July. But yeah, just going out and finding twigs and different bits and bobs for the hobby is just awesome. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Okay then. I will say goodnight to everybody, because my hour is over, and I am going to raid Philippe's channel now. So I will say love to every single one of you. Thank you everybody that has joined me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to Reaper Miniatures for raiding my channel. It is always an honor, and it's awesome.